Hey everybody! Most of you probably know me. I'm Dr. Jen, and today I'm excited to talk to you about gut health and body composition and some things you can do. So I want to start by giving you a quick overview of what the research is so far on gut health and how it affects your body composition. And this is a really heavily researched area right now. So let's start with our friends, the mice, and what we know from them. First of all, we know that if we take the bacteria out of an obese mouse and we put it into a lean mouse, that mouse gets 60% more body fat. This is on a calorie restricted diet. 60% more body fat just from taking the bacteria and putting it into this lean mouse. That's amazing. We also know that if we feed this lean mouse antibiotics, the low-grade antibiotics that's commonly in animal feed, this mouse gets 15% more body fat. That's crazy. Just by killing some of the bacteria inside this lean mouse, we get more body fat. Then we also know that in this mouse who got the bacteria, or this mouse that became this mouse, who got the bacteria from the obese mouse, this mouse becomes more insulin resistant from this bacteria. Insulin resistance is one of the main things that leads to diabetes and is really, really important in metabolism and fat storage, in how we uptake fuel into our muscles, so how well we can work out, our energy levels, all sorts of things. So insulin resistance from this bacteria. Then we also know if we do this in humans, which isn't the most popular. If you can imagine how we put gut bacteria from one person to another, there's a reason why there's lots of mouse trials, very few human trials, but regardless, if we take bacteria from this lean person and we put it into somebody who is obese, what happens is they get decreased insulin resistance. So they actually become more sensitive to insulin just from that bacteria being transplanted into their gut. It's amazing. So what we know is that your gut bacteria have a massive impact on your health, on your body composition, on the way you metabolize fats, on the way you store fats, on your energy. Huge impact here. So how might you know if you have a problem with your gut? So I wanted Dave to be here today, but he isn't, so he let me borrow his digestive system to show you some of the stuff that's going on. So let's talk about a couple signs and symptoms that you might have a gut problem. First of all, heartburn. So in the upper digestive system, we have stomach acid. And when that gets too high or too low, we start to see symptoms. We can have burning in our upper abdomen here. We can have heartburn, bloating. So bloating right after meals is one thing, or at the end of the day. You know, it's totally normal to have a food baby after Thanksgiving dinner. But if you have a food baby every night when you go to bed, that's probably a sign that something's going on in your digestive system. There's also all the elimination things like constipation, diarrhea. These are big signs that something is not right in your digestive system. And even beyond that now, what the research shows us is that our gut is so important to our health that things like eczema, psoriasis, autoimmune conditions, anxiety, depression are all being linked to gut health. So you don't necessarily have to be feeling bloated every day to have a gut problem. If you notice your skin is flaring up and you don't know why, that could be related to your gut. So what I want to do is talk about some of the main things that you can do to do something about this system. So first of all, stomach acid. We talked about that. Our bodies are so smart and we need all of the pieces in order to digest properly. So stomach acid is not just a nuisance that flares up and causes you heartburn. It is critical for digestion. Every time we put something in our mouth, or every time something gets into our mouth that we don't want to, it gets washed down our esophagus into our stomach, and stomach acid is there to kill whatever we don't want to get deeper into our gut. So if we get rid of all of our stomach acid with one of the most common medications is antacid medication, this changes our gut bacteria. So one of the first things that you can think about when it comes to your digestive health is, how's your stomach acid? Are you taking a PPI or one of the medications to block stomach acid? If you are, already at this level, you're affecting your gut bacteria and really critical pieces of your digestive system. So agreed that this medication is necessary and important for some people, but we use it as if it's completely safe and not a problem. So think very carefully about what you're putting into your body. The next thing, as we go further down our digestive system, is our probiotics. So our gut has over 1 trillion bacteria in it. So that is more bacteria than cells in our body. Our gut is literally filled with probiotics, with good and bad bacteria. And I like to think of it like a war zone where there's good bacteria and there's bad bacteria, and that's normal. And whoever is winning out that war will be whether we have a healthy digestive system or not. So a lot of the interventions that you can do for your gut are targeted at making sure that your gut bacteria, the ones that you want to be strong, are strong, and that the ones you want to be weak are weak. So antimicrobials, this is a huge one. 3 sources of antimicrobials that you're likely to come in contact with in your life. The first is antibiotics. Antibiotics are given out regularly, and again, much like the stomach acid medications, I just want you to think really carefully about whether you need that antibiotic before you put it in your body, because we know those antibiotics are very damaging to our good bacteria that live in our guts. They'll kill some of the bad bacteria, but not all of it. But if you can imagine, if you're in battle and you drop something in and you kill one of the bad bacteria, but a lot of the good ones, some of the ones that weren't a problem before can overgrow. This is why we see things like C. difficile and some of those bacteria in hospitals when we're using a lot of antibiotics. So antibiotics, again, great medication when you really, really need it, but think carefully about whether you want to use that. Second source of antimicrobials, which is even scarier, is meat and dairy. In Canada, we are allowed to use antibiotics in animal feed. So when you're getting meat and dairy from conventional sources and big farms, those animals are getting a small dose of antibiotic every single day in their feed, and some of that comes out in the meat and dairy that we eat. Now, Health Canada regulates this and tests the animals for a safe dose of antibiotics in our food. But as we know from over here in this little mouse model, small doses of antibiotics every single day have an impact on our body composition. So if you're eating a high protein diet and you're eating a lot of meat and dairy, you are likely getting a small dose of antibiotic every single day into your system that is having a negative impact on your gut. Third source of antimicrobials, hand sanitizer, those kind of washes. We don't need to live in a sterile world, and we're now finding that these small doses that, hand sanitizer that we use every day get into our mouth, get into our gut, and kill the bacteria that we want to have. So think about those when you're making your buying decisions. Other things, too much animal fat or omega-6. So we all know that a lot of animal fat probably isn't great for us, but omega-6 is another one that disrupts our gut bacteria, and not in a positive way. Omega-6 primarily found in all the vegetable oils. So the North American diet is filled with omega-6, canola oil, safflower oil, sunflower oil. We eat so much of this, and a high omega-6 diet has been shown to feed our bad bacteria. Also a refined diet, refined sugars, refined carbohydrates. That delicious donut that we all love is literally feeding the enemy population in our gut. Food intolerances, another huge one. So the other thing that's going on in our gut here, so there's all the bacteria that live in our gut, and then there's our gut wall. So the wall of our gut is designed to protect us from the outside world. If you think about the shape of the digestive system, we literally put things from the outside world right against our gut. It's like another skin that we just can't see. So the integrity of this gut wall is so important for protecting us from things that might get into our system that we don't want to get into our circulation. And food intolerances, so a great example that I see in my practice all the time, people come in and they say, Dr. Jen, I I can't drink a glass of milk. It makes me feel awful. But I can eat a little bit of cheese. If I eat too much, it's not good. But we try to find ways to consume small amounts of these foods that we want to have that don't sit well in our gut. So we want to make sure that when it comes to food intolerances, we're really paying attention to what our body likes and what it doesn't like, and taking breaks from the things it doesn't like sometimes so that our gut wall has a chance to really heal itself and be healthy. On the positive side, there's lots of things you can do to feed your gut bacteria and to keep your whole digestive system healthy. So first thing, choosing organics if you can. When it comes to high-fat meat and dairy, this is where I really want you to think about the choices that you make. Just choosing organic meat and dairy can drastically reduce that low-grade level of antibiotics that you're getting every day. Think about your medications. Do you really need an antacid medication, or are you using it so that you can eat the things that are probably causing inflammation and food intolerances down the road? These are critical decisions that are a big deal to your health down the road. Plants. What our good bacteria like to eat is roughage, so fiber and plants, and our diet should be primarily plant-based. 80% plants would be optimal. So, 8 to 10 servings of fruits and vegetables a day would be a good amount to actually feed the gut bacteria what it needs. More fiber, which it comes from that roughage, and more bacteria. So if you think about a battle going on down here in your gut, sometimes we need to just send in more reinforcements. What's really interesting though is that, so from this, you can imagine that scientists are studying every probiotic out there in obese people to see if it will reduce their body fat, and having some success with certain strains, but moderate success, not reducing, not eliminating this change, but some reduction in body fat from the right probiotics. Part of the problem is that what's really, really important is the diversity of bacteria in your gut. So we want our gut to be like a rainforest with a million different species of good bacteria. Inside this mouse, what they found in obese people is that the diversity of their gut bacteria is reduced. That's the common finding. It's not one probiotic or another. It's the fact that this mouse has much less species than this mouse of good bacteria. So we're going for diversity. So eating lots of good, rich probiotic food is a really good thing you can do to send more diversity down into your gut. Things like kimchi, sauerkraut, yogurt, kombucha, kefir, miso. There's tons of fermented foods. And if you're not a big fan of fermented foods, you can supplement with a probiotic, also helpful. But think diversity. That's what we want. We want to feed our good bacteria and keep them strong. We want to send more in. So down here, another way we can send more in, which seems kind of counterintuitive, but is dirt. Back in the day, we used to garden a lot. We got a lot of dirt into our guts, and that fed the diversity of our bacteria. And now we wash everything. We scrub every micro bit of dirt off of our food. So the research shows that just going outside more will increase the diversity of your gut bacteria, because outside you're exposed to a lot more dirt. So I recommend trying to choose organic fruits and veggies, and then don't wash them until they're shiny. Keep a little bit of dirt on your food. Good fats, omega-3s, exact opposite of the omega-6 animal fat thing. So fish and hemp and coconut oil and olive oil, all these good fats promote a good diverse bacteria in our gut. And then anti-inflammatory foods. So if you think you might have some issues with inflammation in your gut, good way to tell whether you do, when we're doing back extensions at the gym, if the most painful part of it is the pressure on your belly, you probably have some inflammation in your gut. So in addition to all the good fats and things we talked about, turmeric, bone broth with a lot of collagen, there's lots of anti-inflammatory foods. All your bright colored fruits and veggies will help to keep your gut healthy. So that's a summary, as quick as I could do it, of what we know about gut health, body composition, and what you can do about it. Feel free to send me an email if you have any questions, and I'll see you at the gym. Bye.